All right. Welcome to the 618 podcast. And I'm your host, Tattoo Tom. What's going on, everybody? This is my first podcast. I'm going to kick this off by starting to introduce myself and let you know where I come from, how I got here, and how I started. All right. So, my name is Tattoo Tom, and I started in 2000 tattooing. Started off pretty much sitting at home. I was about 17 years old. Started off by sitting at home, inspired by my cousins from San Antonio, Nick and Shannon. Shannon was a tattoo artist. Nick is a professional graffiti artist. And they would come visit us every so often, once or so a year. I was really influenced by them guys, I really wanted to be like Shannon. He was the tattoo artist. So anyways, while I'm sitting at home, about 17 years old, my mom was dating this guy who'd been in prison before. And I'd asked him, hey man, how'd you build a tattoo machine? How'd you get the inks to work? All that kind of stuff. And he kind of told me a little bit of rundown how to do it. You take a little VCR motor and get you a little paper clip, whatnot. So I built one, and it didn't turn out too well. I asked him how he did the inks and stuff. He said shampoo and cigarette ashes and whatever else. I tried that. It didn't work. And so through time, I decided I kind of messed around with it a little bit. Couldn't get no ink to work or nothing like that. So I was working at this place as a telemarketing company, and I had a buddy up there named Terry. He used to be in prison. He used to tattoo out of prison. And he told me how he built his homemade machine, and I thought, well, that sounds pretty cool. So I went home and I did the same thing. Got a VCR motor, a toothbrush, a paper mate pen, some zip ties, power cord. You know how it goes. And then he told me where I could find some ink at. So most of you guys have heard of Indian ink, okay? Well, it's not Indian. Nothing has ever said Indian on it. It's actually India ink. And the ink that I used to use was called Speedball. It was an India ink. Anyways, that actually worked for a little while. Started tattooing my brother. The funny thing is his first tattoo, his name is Chris, and on his back he wanted me to put Chris. So I put C-H, and then I put I. And I thought, fuck, I fucked up his name. What am I going to do? The very first tattoo I ever did, I fucked up the name. And I didn't use a stencil or nothing like that. But anyways, I corrected it, and I ended up spelling Chiefed. And then I did my sister's tattoo. And then I started doing my own tattoos. And it all began to pretty much impress my first baby mama. But anyways, after a while of starting to, work on the machine myself and and fine tune it, all that good stuff, I finally had something to work with, which is pretty much what you're seeing right here and up in here, and just like older work, But then one day I'm going to my work, and this one lady was like, "Oh, you do tattoos?" I was like, I just started, She says, "How much you charge?" And I remember that day, it clicked in my head. People are willing to pay for this shit. Okay. Well, I told her it's like $5, whatever. And then it went off on there. So I've been tattooing for a little bit, 3 or 4 years, using homemade equipment. Very unsanitary. Not the best way to start. But where I come from, it was a little bit hard to get into an apprenticeship. Nobody wanted to take you in, and I understand why now. But after a while, I went to a cake party one night with my baby mama, and I met this girl there named Julie, and we got to talking, and she's like, "Yeah, my old man did this tattoo." I'm like, "Oh, that looks good." I'm like, "Was he working a shop?" And she's like, "Yeah, he works at a shop in Fleshtones in Wood River." I was like, "Is it cool if I meet him?" And she's like, "Yeah." So she went and got her husband at the time. His name's Ollie Price, and we kind of headed off there. Excuse me. He told me to. He told me to come up to this shop on Tuesday, and he talked to me. Well, that was a big mistake because when I came to the shop, I never left damn near. And they seen that I was pretty well serious, and they seen a few of my work, and it was all right. It wasn't even nothing really. But then one day, after being up there for so long, the owner of that shop, Sam Mike, he was like, "I tell you what, Tom, if you come up to the shop one day and you burn these needles off the needle bars, I'll give you this machine." And it was like a blue, I wanted to say it was similar to a J. Kaplan, but it wasn't. It was just some blue machine I had gotten that I was like super, super stoked, right? Then through time, I got a power supply and all the other stuff for it. And then one day, Sam comes to me and says, "Hey man, if you can find a buddy to bring into the shop, I'll let you tattoo him and kind of see what you got and just kind of see how you can do, how you are with the machine." So, one of my best friends in the world, rest in peace, Brad Irvin. That dude was one of my very first people that was willing and able, and had been willing and able ever since then, to get tattooed by me. So, I came in and did this little like swallow on him, and Ollie would sit down every once in a while and he'd do a few, shading parts and a line or two to kind of show me some things, and turned out pretty good. But then I started working there. It wasn't long after that they offered me a job there. I started working there for about a couple years and really built my name up there. Not in really a good way, but nonetheless, I built my name up there. I got the name Tattoo Tom from jail. Someone had said, "Hey man, hey tattoo. You know what I'm saying?" Someone said, "Oh yeah, Tattoo Tom, that sounds like it goes together." And from that point on, Tattoo Tom, here I am. But anyways, through the years, I got on drugs. I am a recovering meth addict and junkie. And I've been long tattooing after this point, probably a good, 19 years at the time. And so basically, from Fleshtones in 2005 to 2007, I stopped working there. Me and the boss had a little falling out. I was on drugs. And I don't know, about maybe a year or so later, another buddy of mine, Tracy Clark, offered me a spot at a tattoo shop in Bethalto, Illinois. It's called Dermographics. Why he took a name from something that was already called Dermographics, I'll never understand, but nonetheless, he called it that. I worked there for about a couple months, and then I stopped working there. And then I didn't work at any tattoo shop for a hot minute. And I was working out of the house. Now, I know everybody's going to frown upon that, but I don't care. This is my background. This is where I come from, okay? It's not the greatest. It's the most slummiest and thuggish way you could probably get into it, but this is why I'm starting this podcast, to let you know this is where I come. And I do not condone this kind of thing, but anyways, I tattooed out of the house for many, many years, and it was never fun. I deal with people's dogs and just fucking going to people's houses, and it was not fun. But anyways, then I got with my fiance Kaylee in 2015, and we got on drugs for a little bit, and it's what it is. We get on drugs, tattooing out of the house, and whatnot. I'm like, man, I need to give this girl a fucking great life. I need to provide for her, but I'm not good at working for companies like warehouses, fast food joints, other people's shit. I'm not good with that shit, I don't take orders very, very well. I'm very, very rebellious. I do not like taking orders from people. But anyways, I get with Kaylee. We get on drugs for I don't know about 8 months, give or take, something like that. And then I decided it's time to put that shit to rest, and it's time to fucking take my tattooing to new heights. Now, granted, I didn't have a plan for this kind of thing, but I went ahead. We got clean. I went to rehab. Got out of rehab. Started working for warehouse jobs. It was all right. I'm a really good worker. I can work my ass off. It's just the orders part. I don't like taking orders from people. Anyways, I start working for these people. Nonetheless, I'm on Facebook. It's where I do most of my business. And one day I had been put in a Facebook ban. So I had to make a new Facebook account. Now on the one Facebook account I had all these security settings on there. So it was like random people just couldn't reach out to me and try to find me or nothing like that. But on this new Facebook account, I didn't have these settings on there. So one day I'm visiting my sister and I get a message from a guy. And he's like, "Hey man, I see you do pretty good tattoos. You looking for a job?" And I was like, not really. Kind of liking the 100% profit part. But I was like, I'll come check it out, man. You know, whatever. Talked to my lady about it. Went up there. It was all right. It was a new shop. And I met Dustin there, which was really cool. Opa, Dustin Femister. He was kind of like one of my, like, when I first started at Art and Soul in Centralia here, I didn't know shit about top name suppliers, brands. I was just using cheap Amazon shit. You know, I didn't know about any of the good shit. And Dustin totally put me on for that shit. You know, he told me Kingpin. He told me all kinds of, you know, cool little things. Taught me how to tune machines, and taught me about machines and things like that, and tension and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, I worked there for a little bit. It was real boring. I didn't make much money, you know, but Dustin decides he's going to quit and go over to Samurai, which is also in Centralia, a little more of a long-standing shop. It's been around for a long time, owned by Jimmy Ryan. And he calls me and he says, "Man, I just quit Art and Soul." He's like, I didn't tell the owner of it. I dipped out. I was like, "Man, if I'd have known that, I would have just left here too and went over where you're at." And he's like, "Well, I talked to Jimmy and he says that, you know, when he's got this little, you know, certain opportunity or whatever, he'll let you know, and he's got a spot for you." I'm like, "Bet." So wasn't long after that, I went over to Samurai and worked there for about 10 months. Dustin ended up quitting tattooing, and he dipped out for a little while. And so I was running up there for a little bit, for about less than a year, about 10 months or so. And then me and my fiance Kaylee, we were deciding if we should move back to Granite, where we left to get clean. But we're not going to move back to actually Granite, just kind of like back in that general area, because we want to be closer to her kids and my kids and all that shit. And so I put a post out and I said, "Hey, is any one of my Granite City or near and around shops looking for an artist? We're thinking about moving back up there and would like to get into a shop up there." And you know, I had a couple people, but all of a sudden one day, okay, well, let me get to this story about the whole 618 thing. As I'm working at Samurai, all I hear from other customers is about Matt Helm and Coke and Lonnie Jackson. I hear those names all the time coming, and not bad at all. It's more or less like, we'd go to them, but they're too busy, so we'll come to you, kind of thing. And I'm like, who are these motherfuckers? You know, I never heard these guys before, so I'm get to looking them up, and I'm like, oh shit! Like, these motherfuckers are next level. Like, my work is not as good as them, for sure. Like, I'm decent, but I'm nothing like these guys, right? So I tried to add them. The only person that added me back was Coke. And man, I seen some of his black and gray work. Instantly fell in love. I mean, just the greatest, in my personal opinion. you know. My personal opinion, he's one of the best black and gray artists around. Um, but anyways, he added me back, and I started looking through his stuff, and I was like, "Damn, homie, you're fucking dope, bro. You're dope," you know. And he's like, "Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it." Blah blah blah. You know. Nonetheless, I guess he sees my post. He mentions it to Matt. Hey, there's this guy named Tom. Does pretty decent work. You know, needs to be worked on a little bit. You know, but he does pretty decent. You know. And so one day I'm at the shop, Samurai, and I get a call from Coke, and I said, "Hey, babe," I said, "Coke's calling me." She's like, "I wonder what he wants." I'm like, "I don't fucking know," but I went ahead and answered it, you know. And he goes, I remember this day like it was yesterday. I'll never forget it. He goes, "Hey, bro," he's like, "You looking for a job?" And I was like, "Well, not really, man." I said, I'm looking more towards the Granite way." I said, "Because we're thinking about moving back to the Granite side, you know." And he's like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "I talked to Matt Helm. He said, he says if you know if you're looking for a job, man." He said, I showed him some of your work, and he said to come up and talk to him. And I remember my fucking heart just dropping, and the fanboy set me. I never met these guys before. Didn't know shit about them other than every single person that came in that shop damn near talked about them. They want Matt, they want Coke, they want Lonnie. Those three artists they fucking wanted. That was the top people in the area, but no one could get to them. And I'm like, holy shit. Did I just get offered a job at 618 Inc.? So I kind of played it off. I was like, yeah, I'll think about it. You know, I'm not sure. I'll get back to you on it. He's like, "Oh, bro." And so I hung up the phone and I looked at my lady and I said, "Babe, I'm going to work for 618 Inc." And she's like, "What?" She's like, "Are you serious? Are you sure?" I'm like, "Dude, blah, 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 blah." So anyways, so I hit Matt up. Matt's like, "Yeah, man, if you want to come talk to me, whatever." So I said, "Okay." So I went up and talked to him. I remember when I walked up in the shop, I was nervous. I ain't gonna lie. I never met this guy. You know what I'm saying? Never met this dude in my whole life. I just know he's a bad motherfucker at tattooing. And everyone loves this guy. You guys just don't even know. Everyone loves this guy. I'm going to go into a whole deal about that one too, about Matt Helm himself. Anyways, I walk up there and he's talking to somebody already. I got there before the shop hours, you know, and he was talking to somebody. But the person left and we shook hands, you know, and I said, "Hey, man, I'm Tom." He's like, "I'm Matt." We shook hands, you know, and I said, "Hey, before we get into any of this," I said, "I just want you to know that I'm a recovering meth addict and junkie. I've got, at the time, I had like 4 or 5 years clean." And he's like, "Okay, man." He's like, "I appreciate the honesty." And so we started talking for a little bit. And then he invites me over to his house to meet the warden, Tiffany Helm, his wife. So me and my fiance, we go over there one night and we're sitting there having a little powwow and talking and things like that. And my lady's really big into astrology, you know. So the first thing she's going to ask is, "Hey, what's y'all's birth sign?" And lo and behold, Matt Helm has the exact same birthday and year as I do, which may or may not have helped seal the deal a little bit on my part, but nonetheless, we have the exact same fucking birthday. And so at that point, you know, I was hired. You know, he got a good vibe off me, and so did his old lady. And trust me, she's very intuitive. So if she's not feeling somebody, it's her way or no way. But which is good. But yeah. So I started working here at 618 back in 2000, mid February of 2019. I've been here ever since, and I'll be here for as long as 618 Inc. is up and running and owned by Matt Helm. I'll be here. But yeah, it's been a blessing, complete blessing. Now I work with 9 artists, I believe. We got Matt Helm, we got Coke, Lonnie, Craig Daniels, we got Phaedra Witt, Anthony McElroy, Justin Evans, Justin Bolin, and myself. And then we got Tiffany as the piercer, and then we have my fiance as the apprentice, almost on her own piercer. and that is Kaylee Mitchell. But yeah, so I remember living at my brother's house. I had been strung out on meth, shooting up meth, high as hell, in my lowest of lows, okay? Living with my brother. I'm sleeping all the time when I'm not up all night for days, doing meth. I'm sleeping all the time, putting no effort into doing anything for myself. And I'm depressed, drug addict, And I remember being in my brother's room, well, it was my room at the time, and just fantasizing about what it would be like to work in one of the greatest shops ever. Like, what would that do for me as an artist? Like, how far would I go as an artist? How would I be received by the people and other artists? You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I feel like I did pretty far. I went pretty far. I've done 3 conventions now, and I've been working here for 5 years. My work has gotten extremely better than what it used to be. Well, because think about it. I'm working up against 8 and 9 of the best artists that these surrounding counties offer, So I have to be well on top of my game. But I've done the Chicago Convention, which is the Villain Arts. I've done that twice, and it's so big and so huge that, I've been there twice, and both times I show up and I look around and see all these diverse artists from different places and different walks of life, and I tell myself in my head, I'm like, I made it. I fucking made it. I'm literally working in the best shop around, the best. I mean, that's really kind of an opinion, but it's more or less facts. Because if you ask, 1,000 people, 99.9 of them, or 999 of them are going to say, yeah, 618 is the best shop around, hands down. What makes this the best shop? Okay, that's a good one right there, because I always think that too. People always ask me, like, what makes this a good shop, right? Not only is it the art that comes out of here, the type of skill set that these artists offer, but it is the brotherhood and camaraderie that we have that most other places don't. Most other tattoo shops are only about their business, and that's it. Okay. Most of them have a 50-50, a 50% shop cut. And if you're lucky, you'll get a shop that will allow you to keep 40 or 60% of your cut. Here, it's much more than that. Not only that, but, Matt makes, I've never seen a person go out of their way to make sure that each individual artist is attended to accordingly and is done whatever he can do for that artist. Literally, if I went to Matt and I said, hey, Matt, there's this certain thing out there I feel that would really make me a much more better artist. It's, $400, $500, $600 or whatever the case is, whatever it is. And if I convince him good enough, then I show him how it will make me a better artist. He will put the money up to get it for me. And, and he believes in what we all do. So we have Monday meetings where we come in and we talk about our weaknesses, our strengths, or mostly weaknesses. That's what we're all about. We're about growth, So we come in here and we talk about weaknesses and where we're lacking in certain things, and we will do like exercises about it, or we'll do something that will try to, like for example, Justin Evans is getting these like honeycomb type outlines on his side. And each one of us have to go in and do like the best tattoo we could possibly do in this small spot. And then we go critique it. And so I did mine, and I tell him, I say, I'm not looking for anybody to be nice to me. I'm looking for like comments. I'm looking for shit on comments. Like, don't be afraid to be harsh with me. I want to know where I fucked up and what I'm lacking in, blah, blah, blah. So nonetheless, we do everything in our power to make sure that we're up to par, and when we're lacking in something, we address it. We don't get butthurt over it, and offended over it. And I love that about this place. And plus, we're like so willing to work with other shops and do other collaborations and guest spots. And, we are a shop that is about other shops too. We're not just about us. We all eat here. We all have no problems eating here whatsoever. So we don't have any problems helping other shops or doing other things with other shops, and most shops are not like that. Um, so other than that, each individual person here has proven themselves to be accessible when one of us needs them. Very trustworthy people. We've got Phaedra now. She come from another shop. She's, sort of new at tattooing, but she's been doing it for, I think, 3 or 4 or 5 years, something like that. And she's really good. She's extremely creative, and she does a lot of paintings and stuff like that, man. And it's just each individual person has their own unique, like, coolness to them when it comes to their art. Craig, he makes these little 3D printed toys and things like that. He's very good at computers and very good at like learning new technological stuff. Coke, he's really, really good at like pencil portraits, like hyperrealism portraits and things like that. Lonnie is really good at like painting and creating cool things out of furniture and, cool tables and things like that. Everybody here's got some kind of like pizzazz to them pretty much. But anyways, so we have, I don't know, we've been here for quite a while. 618 Inc. has been around since, I would imagine, I think 2017 or maybe even 15. But everybody in town and its surrounding areas loves this place. We do our very best to take on the customers with our absolute best potential. I try not to have bad days and come into the shop with bad. It's really hard to have a bad day and come into the shop with that bad day, because people here will see that and they'll be immediately there to help in some of the way. And it's not one of those kind of like annoying, like get away from me, I got this kind of thing. It's a sense of security. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to explain it, but it's really a sense of security. We're really one big family, and that's what we feed off of too. Is the family values kind of thing. But yeah, now people have also asked me, well, how would you go about starting tattooing? Like, if one person is just an artist, how would they get into tattooing? Now, there's 2 ways. One is the best way, and the other is sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, and people are going to tell you no. There's a lot of people out here that want to be tattoo artists, okay? And we've seen it all. We've seen every single one of you guys that want to be tattoo artists, okay? But there's a certain thing in someone that we will see, and if you don't have it, and if you're not prepared, we will boot you out. We don't want people who are, in a manic episode where they just want to become a tattoo artist, but then they're not willing to do whatever it takes, okay? So the best way is, it's preferred that you are some sort of artist. Best way to, so what you would do is, if you got a lot of drawings, a lot of paintings, a lot of things that you've done, some sort of art, whether it's spray painting, drawing with pencil, or pastels or whatever, get you up a good portfolio and secure that thing very nicely, okay? Then I would go to every single tattoo shop that you're willing to drive to every single day. If you were to land the job, go to every single tattoo shop, Show them your portfolio. Tell them where you come from and why you're interested in tattooing. Now, it's not going to be that easy. You can't just go in some place. You might get lucky, but 99.9 times out of 10, they're going to just say, hey, yeah, whatever, you can come back later, or we're not looking for nobody, okay? So this is where the real nitty-gritty gets down. People are going to tell you no. People are going to say, you ain't cut for this. People are going to talk a bunch of shit, okay? That should be the ultimate fuel to your fire. What I would suggest is show up every fucking day. Every day. One of two things are going to happen. They're going to threaten you to call the cops. They're going to say, look, if you don't fucking leave, we're going to call the cops or beat your ass. Or somebody get this motherfucker some fucking shit to clean in here. You know what I mean? Now, sometimes, like myself, I went on Amazon and bought a fucking cheap kit. It's not something I would recommend doing, but sometimes you don't really have access to those kind of things. And if you're going to do something like that, you're going to go on Amazon and you're going to get a cheap kit or whatever, okay? First, try to do some research on what you're looking for, whether it's a coil machine or a rotary machine or something like that. Get you your kit and do some research, okay? We got plenty of things out here, resources out here that will help you practice. Do not, and I repeat, do not tattoo on your buddies and other people, okay? Do not. Use fake skin, use some sort of pig ears, or use honeydew melon, an orange. Use anything but human skin, okay? Because first of all, we're talking about blood and cross-contamination. You want to be extremely, extremely sanitary when practicing on a human. Get you a bunch of practice skin and just work with that for as much as you can. Look on YouTube. There's plenty of people on YouTube that are willing to give, or TikTok, are willing to give little techniques here and there. I know someone who just started out 3 years ago, and all she did was YouTube the shit, and this lady is badass, okay? She's now working in a shop doing killer. She's probably the best one around, hands down. So nonetheless, she did the research. She put the work in, and she's there, okay, in a very short amount of time, mind you. Her name is Melissa Rose, by the way, and she works at Art Vibes. Go check her out. Anyways, get on YouTube, look up artists and different techniques and things like that. Practice. Now, here's your other thing that's going to happen. That's going to, and then, hold on. And then once you get the practice skin and you've tattooed and you've got some things to show, some things like some outline work, some color, some blending, some shading, saturation, whatever it is, stippling, however you say it. Then take your practice skins to your tattoo shop. Now listen, the tattoo shops you're going to go to, you're going to have to bug the piss out of them, okay? You're going to have to go in there and literally make them give you a job or make them make you leave, okay? And then, even then, if they don't give you a restraining order and they tell you to leave and they get mad and say, look, if you don't fucking leave, I'm beat your ass or whatever, leave. Come back in a month, okay? Come back in a month or two. At some point, they're going to say, okay, well, fuck, this person is not giving up. They're going to want to see that, okay? Because that's the sacrifices that you're going to have when you start tattooing in real time. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of sacrifices that you're going to have to take, and they want to see that you are willing to make these sacrifices and do whatever it takes, okay? Go in there and show them your practice skins. Talk to them. Beg them, whatever, okay? They're going to make you, once you become an apprentice, they're going to make you do a bunch of bullshit for free. You're not getting paid from tattooing, so you're going to have some kind of fallback money on that, guaranteed. You're not going to get paid for that shit. It might be a year or two, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You're going to have to go through that shit. Okay? It sucks. It's hard. But this is what puts you on your hustle when you finally become a tattoo artist, okay? Okay, so whenever you start, okay, and you get your stuff, the other obstacle thing is that everyone is going to build you up and say that you're doing great. Everyone's going to say, that looks amazing. That looks awesome. You're so good. You're so talented. Okay. Listen. Don't pay attention to none of that shit. Your first few years, you're going to suck. You're going to suck. Your lines are going to be shaky. Your fucking shading is going to be weak. Piss poor preparation and stuff. There's all kinds of stuff, man. You're going to suck. Do not listen to those people. They're only going to hold you back from getting further, because in order to get further in this job, you have to be willing to grow and learn from your mistakes and learn what the people are out here bragging and talking about. So it's going to be tough. You're going to have, because the last thing you want is for all these people to tell you that you're really, really good, and you think you're really, really good until you sit up against somebody like Matt Helm, Jerry, or Coke, and Lonnie. Then you're going to be really embarrassed when you're not as good as everybody else says you are. Okay. So everyone's going to say that. No one wants to hurt your feelings. Okay. But in an apprenticeship, a real apprenticeship, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to shit down your fucking neck, and we're going to tell you suck. We're going to tell you that shit looks weak. That shit it's not saturated. You can do better. That was, poorly done. We're going to tell you those kind of things. Because you need to know these things. Okay. It's exactly what they did to me when I was out there tattooing out of the house. Everybody's like, dude, you're the best tattoo artist around. You're the best artist around. And I was literally thinking I was the best artist around, because I'd see other shit tattooers that got out of prison or that was, trying to do it at home, and they all fucking sucked. You know what I mean? So I had this fucking chip on my shoulder. I thought, oh shit, yeah, I'm the best around. I'm the best around. Everyone says it. 1,000 people can't fucking be lying. Well, I learned very quick once I started working next to Dustin, or Opa, Coke, Lonnie, and Matt. Yeah, it was pretty humbling. I still got to stay on my toes. That's why we do these Monday things every Monday, is because we don't want to be comfortable in where we're at, because comfort gets you nowhere. We don't want to be the world's best, but we want to be your first pick of an artist. And now I see why other clients are having a hard time getting a hold of Matt, Coke, and Lonnie. It's because these guys have established themselves so well in this town that they're constantly booked. And I ain't never seen nothing like that. I came here and was like, man, how do I get myself booked up for months in advance like that? And I'm not booked up in months in advance, but I have no shortage of clients. Matter of fact, I have to turn down more than I want to. And it's an absolute blessing here. We have 9 artists, and if we got 3 more, none of us would starve. We're extremely blessed and grateful for the clients that we do have and the new clients that come to us. But yeah, so I started this podcast because I want to introduce Matt and Tiffany to everybody. Even though everyone knows them, I want them to really get to know them, like through social media and through video like this, because they're not very social media savvy people. Matt definitely does not like the idea of necessarily being on camera and being this high, like, hey guys, I'm Matt Helm, look at me. He don't want none of that shit, but I have to force him to do this. I have to push him outside my comfort zone, because we gotta fucking do it too. You know what I mean? Tiffany don't like doing it. None of them like, and I don't blame them. I don't really blame them. See, I like attention. I like to be seen and heard and all that kind of shit. I'm funny, all that kind of stuff. These guys are the same, but they don't really care for that kind of stuff. And I don't blame them, but I want everyone to get an opportunity to be able to get to know the real Matt Helm and Tiffany Helm. They're such genuine people, and I'm 41 years old. I'm very well within my rational mindset, and I'm going to tell you guys that I've never met people like these guys. This is definitely a once in my lifetime kind of thing. I've met some really great people. And I'd almost go to say that those people also were like once in a lifetime. But when you really sit back and think about it, you're thinking, man, yeah, these people are extremely, very well respected in this town. They've built 618 from the ground up, and now we're operating with 9 artists and 2 piercers, and we're only looking to do more. Tiffany's looking to do the laser removal. We're going to make shirts and stuff here. We're going to have new, 618 merch, not just the black and white 618 with the thing in the back, and the logo in front. We're going to have cool colors and designs, artist series. We want to do this podcast, and we want to put more on social media. We want to do all kinds of stuff. So it's starting off kind of slowly because everyone's not used to this. So we're trying to find our own little groove. So I'm here at 8:30 in the morning, been here since 7, doing this podcast by myself because, everyone else is kind of just, it's really kind of hard to do this. I have to start this, and then they'll force themselves to get into motion, and they'll get with the program at some point. But yeah, if there's any questions or anything that you guys want to add or ask or whatever, feel free to do it in the comments. I'm going to try and do this at least once a week. This is very new to us right now, so I'm going to do my absolute best to pick a day and be consistent each time, because that's what the name of the game in this industry is: consistency. And without consistency, you've got chaos. Trust me when I tell you that one. But yeah, so I'm going to close this podcast today. I just want to tell you guys I appreciate you guys listening, and I want you guys to stay positive out there, and we can all get along, and let's not let this outside bullshit deter us from being one as people. You're worth it. You're important. And with that being said, you guys have a blessed day. I'm out.